Let me start. First of all, I'm Jim Bouche. I'm the principal at Lakeland Union High School. I'm honored to be here. I'm actually somewhat blown away that we have so many people here to listen to me. I didn't think, matter of fact, when I walked in this morning, there was an empty room, nice and small. I thought, not expecting many people. No big stress factor for me at all. Well, thank you for being here. Let me start off with this question to find out where the audience is, because I don't know who I'm speaking to. How many are district administrators in here? Okay. How many are principals? Okay. How many? Obviously, the rest of you are teachers, correct? Raise your hand, teachers. There. Actually, I'm going to be talking to all three of you, all three groups. I'm going to be talking to teachers. I taught for 19 years as an English teacher, phys teacher, and health teacher. I was a head football coach, I was a basketball coach, I was a strength coordinator, those years passed. Many of you know what it's like. Then I decided to go onto the dark side. I went to Minnesota. Went into administration as an assistant principal, athletic director, activities director at Egan High School in Minnesota, around the metro area. It was there that I spent some time getting into technology. Actually, I was getting into technology when I was still teaching in the classroom. I had to learn DOS. Does anyone remember DOS? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. I remember my wife getting very upset with me saying, "Are you done with that computer?" Because I bought the IBM and I was overwhelmed with the possibilities. And I was up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just putting in time, figuring it out. First of all, spending a lot of time trying to figure out DOS. That was like speaking a foreign language. But as Hall stated, I remember when I was in high school, I was punching cards in my first computer class. So I thought DOS was pretty easy. And then when Microsoft came into the world and started moving things forward with Windows, I thought, oh my goodness, what can I do with all of this? So that's where I was first titillated with technology and utilized it in my classes. I was noticing that my overheads were looking pretty shabby. Text, that's all it is, slide the paper down. I was boring myself. So I decided to start putting pictures on the overheads. And I started to put pictures on my tests. As an English teacher, when I was talking about Shakespeare, Globe Theater, I wanted to make sure that they saw it, so they saw visuals. And again, that was before PowerPoint. PowerPoint didn't come into the picture. Remember, all PowerPoint is a glorified overhead projector. That's all it is. I'll get to that later on about how you need to jazz it up just a little bit, and I hope I can model that a little bit today. But anyway, from that point, I really got into technology. My second master's was in administration. I went to Minnesota. My EDS was in technology enhanced curriculum. And that's where I've been pursuing it. And this is, because of that, every road, every path leads to the next place. And that prepares you for what you're going to be doing. And I felt very honored to be able to come back to northern Wisconsin, where I grew up, to be able to bring some of the things that I had learned at that point in time. So, enough about me. This is not about me, so let's move about us at Lakeland Union High School. These are the administrators at Lakeland Union High School. Mr. Todd Kleinhans, our superintendent, myself, Dr. Faye DeMart, Justin Zeus as our assistant principal activities director, and then Karen Baker as our student services administrator. These are the people that are making things happen. This is our second year together as a team. We moved to Lakeland Union High School 2 years ago. This is my third year at LUHS. So we feel really good this year because we have a year under our belt. We're in our second year together. We're moving forward. And a lot of things have changed. A lot of things are happening. Before I go any further, I always like to talk about mission statements. How many times have we been accused of creating a mission statement and never looking at it again? Putting it in that little binder, put it on a shelf, never seeing it again, and you can say to the community, we have a mission statement. Well, I have a pet peeve about that now with technology. There's no reason why you don't have the mission statement out there. There's no reason why you don't talk about your mission statement. And so if you take a look at the 6 words in that mission statement, those are the things that I have dedicated myself as the principal at Lakeland Union High School to make sure that we're moving forward and doing and taking care of. Dedicated for a safe, stimulating for all students pursuing academic excellence. Now, we have a demographic that's quite different than many people. We have 41% free and reduced. We have approximately 25 to 26% Native American. We have high-end economics. We have low-end economics. And we service everybody. And that's our mission, to take care of all of our students from where they're at to move them forward. 3 R's: rigor, relevance, relationship. You've all seen that. Model schools. We're becoming a member of the model schools this year. We will be having them, and I'm trying to move around so I can duck and weave and bob and all of that, so I'm not getting in your way. But we're very dedicated to the 3 R's. Again, as I said, when I taught English, we used to think 3 R's was arithmetic, reading, and writing. And I could never figure out where the 3 R's came from. Arithmetic and writing. Okay, we're not practicing what we're preaching. But this we are, rigor, relevance, and relationship. And this year has been a big push for us to move relevance to rigor. Up the ante. Up the ante with our students, up the ante with our staff, up the ante with everybody, making sure that we're moving forward. Joe Paterno once said, I heard him at a coaching clinic. Joe Paterno, heard him speak, and he said, you never stay the same. You're either getting better or worse. We're not going to step backward. That's our goal. We're not going to step backward. Somebody at the beginning of the year asked me, what is Lakeland Union High School? What do you think of Lakeland Union High School? From my point of view, and they wanted my point of view, did I miss it? Oh, okay, I took that off, and so the mic is hanging at my knees. And if I were in this position, that wouldn't be very good. That'd be called cranial rectal inversion. English teacher, punster, 2/3 of a pun, PU, thank you very much, I feel like I'm at home. So what was I asked, and what did I think of LUHS? LUHS, I feel, and I look at, and I really embody that, is change. It's a school of change. We're not the same. Moved into the community, and I kept on hearing about all the things that happened at the high school 20, 30 years ago, and the people kept on reminding me, well, 20 years ago, it was like this. And I said, guess what? It's not anymore. Come join us. We'll take you on a tour. We'll move you around. We'll give you an idea how schools are changing, and your school here in northern Wisconsin is changing a lot. Great man once said this, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. He's a running back for the Green Bay Packers. And if he doesn't change some more and stop dancing in the hole, he won't have a job. And just a little sidebar. But even Brandon Jackson realized he had to do some things different. If a football player can think about that and realize change has to happen, we as educators need to think about it. This was revolutionary. The printing press. My goodness, it changed everything. But even then, and back then, they had a problem with change. As we take a look at this, change will happen. You're going to have to read real quickly on this one.
Broder Ansgar? Ja, det er deg, ja. Ja, så bra, ok. Ja, hei du. Nå fatter jeg det. Hei du. Ja. Ja, hva gjelder det? Ja, det er denne her. Ja, vil du sitte? Takk. Ja. Jaha. Ja, så jeg har ikke fått gjort noen ting hele formiddag, ja. Nei, jeg beklager at det tar tid, altså. Vi holder på å legge om til et helt nytt system, og da skal alle ha hjelp på en gang, vet du. Ja. Så du kommer ikke inn i den, eller? Nei, den bare ligger der. Ok, har du forsøkt å åpne den? Ja, åpne den, altså hvis det hadde vært så enkelt så hadde jeg jo ikke tilkalt helpdesk, hadde jeg vel? Nei, det er sant. Nei. Vil du ha en kopp vann? Nei, det skal være fort gjort, det skal vi se. Du bare gjør der. Sånn, ja, da er du i gang. Ja, altså så langt kom jeg også.
Ok.
Ikke sant? Men så stoppet det opp, og så var jeg redd for at noe av teksten skulle forsvinne, så jeg turte ikke å gå videre.
Ja, ok. Nei, men du skjønner at inni her så ligger det kanskje flere hundre sider med lagret tekst. Så for å komme videre så tar du tak i et ark på den måten her, og så liksom blar du over på neste side sånn. Da fortsetter teksten der.
Jeg blar, altså.
Du blar, ja.
Men når jeg skal tilbake, da?
Ja, da bare blar du tilbake igjen. Tar tak der.
You don't have to know how to speak Swedish.
Der. Så er du tilbake til den teksten du hadde, sa. Ikke noe
Ok, så den
forandret.
slutter der,
Ja.
og så fortsetter den der, ja. Ok, men når jeg skal avslutte for dagen, hva gjør jeg da?
Da bare slår du sammen permene
Ja?
på den måten der. Sånn. Da er den lukket, der ligger alt lagret inni der.
Altså, jeg risikerer ikke å miste noe av teksten her nå,
Nei,
altså.
alt ligger lagret inni her nå. Da må du i tilfelle sette fyr på hele greia. Det er kanskje lite sannsynlig.
Ja, ok. Nei, men for det er noe med det at ikke sant, når du har holdt på med skriftruller,
Ja.
så tar det litt grann tid å konvertere til å bla i en bøk. Ja. Ja, ok. Det er greit. Ja, men du vet, før du går. Jeg må gå igjen en gang til. Jeg åpner sånn, og så, hva du kaller det? Blar. Jeg blar. Ja, blar videre. Blar frem og tilbake. Og når jeg er ferdig, så bare lukker jeg den. Flott. Kjempefint. Ja, men du, vent. Ikke sant? Nå er den sånn igjen, nå får jeg ikke åpnet den. Så det er ikke likegyldig, det, altså.
Åpner fra den siden der. Sånn. Der nå.
Ja vel.
Har du lest manualen, eller?
Manualen?
Jeg skal følge med sånn manual som brukerveiledning. Sikkert den der. Der, vet du.
Å ja, den ja.
Så alt sammen.
Ja, men ikke sant, der har du samme problemet. Får det ikke opp.
Change will happen, and sometimes it's very difficult to take place. It's one of the things that I said just a couple of weeks ago to my superintendent. I said, our staff is a staff of change, not just our perception of LUHS, but it is a staff of change because you need staff buy-in. You need to have your staff realize that change is taking place. How can you do the same thing over and over and over again? It's going to get you the same results, like Brandon Jackson stated. But we need to move forward. Change is difficult, but how do you get that change going? And that's one of the things that we have focused on as we move forward. We want to make sure that we're giving, we don't want to have our teachers fall into a situation like this, and that's when change takes place. We want to prepare them. A lot of professional development as we've been moving. And I haven't given you a lot of stuff yet about all the changes that have taken place. Cell phones, I couldn't talk about just cell phones today, because cell phones are only a part of the 21st century technology tool. It's only a part, but it's a big part. And if you're going to try to eliminate that from schools, and I've got some points here that I want you to see, and we will see in a few minutes, how teachers still are digging their heels in the ground saying, no technology. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Change is difficult, but just do it. Sometimes you just have to do it. Go forward. Who said it? Read that one real quickly. I won't insult your intelligence. Even the Pope realizes that. Even the Pope realizes, thank goodness for technology. And how can we implement that? How can we move forward? Percent of new teachers who want following technologies in their future classrooms. This stuck with me. We hired 5 new teachers this past summer, and I interviewed a lot of candidates, a lot. And many of the candidates came out of colleges, and I have a pet peeve about colleges right now, came out of colleges, and they fell into this realm. The number one thing that they need in the 21st century classroom, chalkboard, dry erase, a dumb board, a dumb board. That's the number one thing that they asked for. And through the interviews that I had, and I had a lot of department teachers involved with the interviews, were amazed at how many students coming out of college did not know anything about some of the technologies that we're expecting them to utilize when they come to LUHS. I don't know about your schools, but when they come to LUHS, and I'll give you a graphic on this, the technology we expect the basic teacher knowledge to have is here, and then advance. And we're trying to move our people into the advanced stages. But they were amazed at this whole idea that teachers are coming out taught by 20th century professors who haven't upgraded their way of instruction, and the new teachers in the 21st century are following what they've been doing as they've been taught, and they want to do the same thing, and they don't want to change. I had a debate with my daughter-in-law, who is a professor at Ohio State, about technology tools. She was arguing with me. Well, I'm old school. And I said, if you're old school, what am I? If I'm willing to change, Vanessa, you better, because you're teaching people in college that are coming out, and I'm having to retrain them because we expect them to do more with students at the high school level. I won't get on that soapbox. I get a little excited about that. You take a look at this then. What the percentage of new teachers say about technology with students. Look at that. Would say, we don't want them with technology. Excuse me? Does that mean you're feeling like you're out of control? Control it in a different way. Differentiated instruction. Use the tool. Use the tool. I get a little excited about this whole idea because I think about what I would be doing if I were teaching. And boy, that's what I'm going to be doing eventually. When I retire, I'm going back to teaching. Not at the high school level, but I'm going back to the college level because I'm excited about what we're doing today in education. This whole conference is exciting. When I walked in and I saw the number of laptops, just 4 years ago, one of the conferences I went to over in Minnesota, I was one of the few people with a laptop. Now, everyone's behind a laptop. That's exciting stuff. Because teachers need to have the laptops before we give them to the students. Because you better know how to utilize the laptop so you can teach your content with the aid of the technology tool, and that's a laptop. That might be a cell phone. Oh my gosh, I've got one on my hip here. We all do, don't we? I saw the hands go up in the big hall over there. Everyone has it, but yet we're going to say, students, you can't have cell phones. There's something wrong with that. Let's go back to this. Our expectation of teachers. Again, I won't insult you with this, but this is the basic things that they need to be able to deal with. Because of Power School websites, we expect our teachers to have lesson plans and assignments on the website so that our students can go, when they miss a class, they can go to the website, pick up the assignments or pick up the PowerPoint, and they've got it at home. Now, some of you might be saying, as many people say every time I talk about this, well, how many people don't have technology at home? Am I supposed to worry about a minority and not take care of the majority? I need to find a way I can connect with that minority and how I can get them technology aid, maybe through school, tutoring, after school, things of that fashion, checking out laptops in the LMC when they come in. We can get them, and that's what we're doing, because we don't want anyone to fall behind, but we're not going to stop moving forward because there's a bump in the road. That's not a barrier. That's not something that's going to prevent us from going forward. Take care of those students, but take care of the students that don't have the technology. Don't forget about them. These are the advanced items. This is all, and I will talk about this on one of my last slides. You can get all this information, the slides, the presentation, the videos, offline. I'm trying to be as green as possible. Tools in the classroom. You've seen Moby out there. We've got some Moby slates. We've got active slates. We've got active boards. We have an active view. I'm going to use that if I have enough time to show you some things on the cell phone that I have. We have active expressions. We utilize the active votes. In the last 2 years, let me just state, 2 years ago at this time, LUHS had about 7 laptops in the school. About, I think, 3, maybe 5 LCD projectors 2 years ago at this time. I'll get to how many we have now in a few minutes. Representing going green. Technology helps you go green. All right. New wireless system we put in because we want to take care of the wireless laptops. Student email system, drop boxes for handing in assignments. We can cut back on paper by doing that. Many of our teachers, it's not mandated, but many of our teachers are now utilizing the drop box, and we just introduced this year Gaggle for our email for our students, and our students are now shooting emails. Matter of fact, one of our teachers, an English teacher, she told her classes, send their assignments to her. She'll be correcting them here at the conference. She has the papers rolling in. New Intel Classroom Lab for our Project Lead the Way program. 50 mounted LCD projectors in the school. All the classrooms have LCD projectors mounted with audio-enhanced speaker systems so that everybody has the opportunity with a wireless mic to speak through that. We know that males learn better when they can hear, and all the females in here said, yay? That's true. So males in high school are not dealing with selective hearing only, but they don't hear quite well. So unfortunately, we've got to figure things out. So we audio enhance the classrooms. And we don't say it's mandatory because many of our classrooms are pretty small. So some of the teachers say, I'm overwhelming them. I said, understandable. If you have a voice like mine, I would be blowing them out in a small classroom as well. I'd have to take my gym voice down a little bit. New printing system we just implemented this year. We have allotted our students the number of copies that they can print off at school. We have allotted the amount of paper that can be printed off on one type of printer because it costs so much. Then for going to a higher level, we go to the next level, and then we have another level that we are saving money when we do print off. So a new printing system that we just implemented this year as well. 5 active digital capturing machines. We're going to be up to probably 20 by next year because every department wants those. And many of the departments want 2 of them, 3 of them. Some of the teachers say, please, can I get one of these? And I'm not going to advocate for one over the other, but they're pretty easy to utilize. Administrators, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm a big one in modeling what I'm expecting. If I'm going to expect technology, websites and that, my website has all my updated information. I've got things on my personal website, on our LUHS website. I do my PowerPoints, I do my video clips, I do my iMovies, I do all of that. I don't pass it on to a secretary. Now, does it take a little bit to figure it all out? Yeah, it does. But if you're going to ask your teachers to do it, why not you do it? Teachers, you like that? You like that comment? Okay, I'll move on. 19 years of teaching, only 14 years of administrator, so it weighs on the other side yet. 11 mobile labs we have in our school. 11 mobile labs. 2 years ago at this time we didn't have a mobile lab. Now we have 11. That puts us up to about 330 laptops moving around, and that's not including our 5 stationary labs. All right, so we're at about 2 to 1 with 2 students to 1 computer. Several sets of student response systems, open directory server so that we can be dual platform. We're a dual platform school, and we wanted to make sure that we're teaching our students how to utilize a Mac, but also the Intel. Project Lead the Way, much of the software you need to have on Intels, so consequently we're still there. But remember, a Mac can split the hard drive, and you can do both on both sides. So there are still things we're looking at. 6 smart boards. I don't call everything a smartboard. Remember, those are interactive whiteboards. Smartboards, a type of interactive whiteboard. Promethean and Mimeo are the other 2 that we have, that we utilize. Several digital tablets, iMac Lab for our high-end video production. greater bandwidth. All of you administrators know about the bandwidth. You can't do this until you have the bandwidth and the right servers. You better look at your spine, because we fell into it backwards, and we had to do a lot of backing up. I know technology from a user point of view. I am not an IT person. I don't want to be. I don't want to deal with servers. I want to ask somebody to go and work with the server so my technology here works. So I relate to teachers when they say those types of things. I also relate to teachers when it comes to, it takes so long to know how to do that. But it's going to save you time down the line. Many of our teachers right now, unbelievably, they now are realizing that they are redoing their PowerPoints from 2 years ago. They're redoing them now. They're spending less time in preparation. It was tough, as in that first clip at the beginning. But once you're there, it's so fast. It's a tweak. 2 business department labs and 3.5 tech assistants. Those 3, those are part-time people that have retired, that come back, and we've kind of recycled them in, and they have a passion for it. You know, no school is going to be able to have 3.5. I understand that. But we work with them, get them trained to do things. This is what's in all of our classrooms. LCD projector with a mounted audio enhanced speaker system, 6 to 7 foot screen so that we're up on a big screen. We're connecting the world with LUHS because we're so far north. I realize that every time I come down south. I don't realize how far north we are. But I love being up north now. I couldn't move south anymore. I like being up there. But I want to connect people. I want to connect. Technology enhanced curriculum with the human touch. We're connected. These are all the different things that we have flying into the school with a larger bandwidth. 2 years ago at this time, we had 3 meg bandwidth. Can you imagine doing all of this now? At 3 meg, we're at 100. We went first from 3 to 20. And they first said, we never jump a school that much up to 20. But we were tapping out at 20 consistently in that first year. In the second year, which was last year, consistently. If we went gone to 50 last spring and then 100 this year, we would be hamstrung. We'd be hamstrung. So again, I go back, administrators, you need to look at your spinal column when it comes to everything. Engage the students. That's what this is all about. Engaging the students. Let me just start this one up. I don't want to take up all the time with videos. I thought this was a great little one because there's young kids that are going to be our students at the high school level saying, engage. High school students want to be engaged. Years ago when we bought the OS 10 servers, we did not think about a podcast wiki server at the time, but that was brought to our attention. And I had not used wikis. I had been playing around blogs. We do that with my sons and my daughter, with our grandkids. We blog, we Skype, we do all of this to stay connected. But I wasn't thinking about it at school. Then I started thinking, boy, if we do that, how much more interactive is that going to be? How cool will that be to be in control of all of that versus going out to wiki pages or wet pages or any of those and then trust their control when we could have control here? Again, this is an administrative idea that you need to be thinking about protecting yourself as well. Now we have a multitude of our students on wikis in their classes breaking down the brick and mortar. Our teachers are putting questions out there, review questions. Students are coming back. They are in a blended technology virtual classroom within our classes right now because our teachers are moving it forward. 2 years ago, when we first started moving into this direction, our students said to us, I know so much more about technology than any of my teachers. And I said, not for long. Not for long. Oh, that'll never happen, Mr. Bouche. I said, would you like to put some money on it? Now I'm talking to our staff, and I'm saying to our staff all the time, stop diminishing your abilities. You know a lot. You know a lot more than a lot of other people do. You need to just challenge yourself to the next level. And so now we're challenging ourselves to the next level, and we have teachers coming back with visionary types of things that they're putting out there. And if we do get time, our one math teacher is with me today, and he has, matter of fact, he will be doing a podcast to be putting on his website for tomorrow's lessons so his students don't have to depend on a sub babysitting. They will be looking individually in his classroom. We have a lab in his classroom for these couple of days. They'll have their headsets on. They'll be listening to different lessons at a differentiated rate because all those students are at different spots. And that is what he's going to be doing tonight. He asked me if I want to be guest speaker. I said, no, not math. I don't want to look that embarrassed. I don't want to be that embarrassed. So anyway, these are cool things. Digital learners engaged through the use of technology. This is where it all starts for us. This is where it all starts for this. This is one of the reasons why we have so many students with smartphones this year versus last year in the survey I took. And I'm going to show you that in a second. Because if they can't afford a laptop, they can afford, in perspective, a smartphone. And the parents realize that we're expecting everything to go through the website. 2 years ago, we went live with our new website November 22nd. We averaged 33,000 hits a month in that first year. Last year we averaged about 80,000 hits. This year, in the first 3 months, we're averaging 125,000 hits to the website because all of our teachers are putting on the front end their lessons and their assignments, and on the back end they can check the grades with PowerSchool. Everything's out there, starting right here. Don't eliminate misunderstood technology, but before I say anything about that, that's the cell phone. The websites, take a look at your website. Does it do what you want it to do? Does it talk about your school? We just upgraded our homepage. We just went to this, we just redesigned it completely. We customized our webpage because it was doing everything we wanted it to do, but it wasn't attractive. So now we decided, let's make it more attractive and really represent what we are all about. The picture in the middle, and I have to share this with you because we spent 6 weeks redesigning this homepage. And I wanted a picture that would represent Lakeland Union High School, not with athletics, not with fine arts. That's not what school's about. But I wanted to have something that's going to represent us academically and with technology. So what we did is that we took two pictures. One picture on the right, one picture on the left. Notice the picture on the left is very difficult back there, but the one picture on the left has IMAX. On the right-hand side, those are HPs. We blended two pictures together. We wanted instruction to be identified here with the teacher at the interactive whiteboard. We wanted technology happening at a differentiated rate, so we have different things on those computers. That's representing LUHS. That's what we want out in the public, that we are a school of the 21st century. We're not talking it, we're doing it, we're moving them forward. This can happen at every school. Every school. Don't eliminate misunderstood technology. Listen to some of these things in this video.
Okay, class, today we're going to learn about Africa. Africa, of course, being the largest continent, blah, 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 blah. So, blah, 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 blah. Now you know that cell phones are not allowed in school. I'm going to have to take that up.
Principal Bruce Van Wielden says Saranac Lake High School already had a policy in place, but thinks a district policy is better.
It's not that we couldn't enforce it before, but there's certainly things that we wanted to add to put, should it be challenged, put teeth into it.
During school hours, cell phones cannot be used during lunch hour, between classes, or on school buses unless permission is given by super. Need to be turned off and put away.
We'd like to see them secured, like in their lockers, out of sight, in backpacks and things like that.
If a student is caught using a cell phone during restricted times, school officials say the phone can be confiscated until the next day. And if it's during exams, it can be a whole week. And for repeat offenders, detention or suspension is possible.
And what the students are doing, they can lighten up just a touch.
But teachers don't see it that way.
I don't want to see any electronic devices. To me, just come to school and do your job.
I try not to, but I usually have it on vibrate, so it makes some sort of noise, and then I can't not answer.
Yes, sometimes I use my phone in class.
And that's when it becomes
no
an
cell
issue.
phones, but they're still using.
I didn't really see it becoming a problem in the classroom until maybe the last 4 or 5 years.
Cell phones in the last, I would say, 5 years have absolutely exploded.
I don't think it enhances or improves the instructional atmosphere at all. In fact, I think it's very detrimental.
Many teachers feel that a phone going off in class distracts not only the student with the phone, but others in the class as well.
Anytime you have a distraction like that, it interrupts the learning process, and students don't get as much as they normally would.
Leffel holds is when students text each other during his class.
The kids do it everywhere. They'll do it in class, they'll do it between classes, before school, after school. If they can text, they will text.
And while
if that's your school, man, that's a lot of technology we're saying they can't use. Our music teacher, our instrumental music teacher, is utilizing the smartphones in her classes for the students to bring podcasts to school. Show within the class what type of music that they're picking up. They can demonstrate by connecting it to the LCD projector, and now you have it. Now the students are part of creating the musical scene in our classroom. Now that music teacher didn't want anything to do with it. You can't say no to it. It's there. Are you ready for the 21st century? It isn't coming. It's here. We're already 10 years into the 21st century, and we still have people saying, we got to get our students ready for the 21st century. If you're still saying that, you're behind. The curve is way ahead of you. You need to start jumping on the curve or get ahead of it. Because if you're not ahead of it right now, in 6 months, you'll be behind it anyway. So you do need to start taking a look. Learning has to make sense now, because what we do now influences the future. The second one, it is becoming difficult to envision the future because it changes so constantly. Ooh, the key word, change again. I really stress that because of the fact that we have to be willing to change. 21st century learners utilize all of this and all of that. That's what they're using. And it can be used productively. But technology etiquette has to be taught. We have to teach it. It's our expectation, should be our expectation. Not only are we teaching content, but we need to teach technology etiquette. We may not be the digital natives, but we're the immigrants that know better. We are the immigrants that know better. They know how to text, but do they know how to do these things? Like Hall was demonstrating over there. That claymation, that was unbelievable. Kid threw that together, no problem, with his cell phone. Cell phone. Utilize them productively. Consider this. Consider that. They're doing a lot of texting. And your first comment is this: texting is killing the writing. I agree. I agree, but I remember as an English teacher, the slang that was being used in the papers, it was blowing me away. But then I started realizing as an English teacher, I'm teaching formal English. They know slang. I don't need to teach them slang. They know how to text. I need to teach them how to utilize it correctly. Just a different item, moving them forward. Use it productively in the school, and the students are going to be excited about coming to school. We've got math students going to their math classes because now they're utilizing computers. They're utilizing the interactive whiteboard. They go into the class. They check in by touching the board. They're there. Teacher sees it. He doesn't have to go through roll. He's using his interactive whiteboard truly from the very beginning of the class to the end. That's productive. That's saving time. How are our students using research tools, calendar, note-taking, communication tools, GPSs? Just a few. Just a few. Our students that have smartphones are utilizing them this way. 21st century technology policies. This is the policy we put into place 2 years ago. It was changed. That policy that you just saw in that video clip was the policy we had at LUHS. And I remember a board member asked me when I was hired. He didn't ask, he said, "I hope you're tough on cell phones." What do you mean by that? I hope you get all over those kids about bringing those cell phones. Oh, just a minute, I got a call coming. As he was talking to me, he stopped talking to me to answer his cell phone, and I'm sitting there thinking, etiquette? Let it ring. I'm in front of you. When I'm in my office with a student and my phone rings, it rings. Student will say to me, "Mr. Bouche, you can answer." I said, "No, you're here. I'm speaking with you. That person can wait. You're on my agenda today." Modeling it, moving it forward. They look at that and they say, wow. Policy. The key part is right here. Student use of electronic communication devices is allowed before and after school, during passing periods in the hallways, and during lunch periods. Expectations for the student use of the electronic devices within the classrooms will be determined by the classroom teacher. Now, our teachers had to have a little bit of help on that one. They went through a year of struggle last year because I'm so tired of hearing about cell phones. Put your cell phone away. I'm tired of cell phones. I'm tired. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, maybe they need some parameters to help them make the decisions in their class so that they know that I'm backing them when I'm stating from the very beginning to the students, instructional time, no, you're warning. I'll get to that in the next slide. So the teachers have control of their classroom. Some teachers use cell phones all the time. Matter of fact, our physics teacher who was with us today said the other day he was having a problem leveling something in his classroom. Student said, "Mr. Board, just a minute, let me help you." Took out a smartphone, had a level on a smartphone, leveled it up for him, moved on. Thank you very much. Thank you, appreciate that. If he was told he couldn't have his cell phone, had to be in his locker, would the teacher have had any help? No, not at all. So now that's productive use of a cell phone in a very quick fashion. So teachers have the choice. However they want to run their classroom, they let me know, I support it. They say no cell phones in their classroom, and a student is sent down to me because he used a cell phone in that classroom, I'll ask him, were you told? Yes. Then you know what side I'm on, not yours. Consequences for misuse. This is where I came in this year. Big assembly for the whole school. Then individually to each class. I stated to them, on the first day of school, Mr. Bouche stated to the students, the warning of misuse, teachers will take the phone. This is your warning. You don't get a warning, and then you get a warning from the second teacher, and then you get a warning from the second teacher. So when the teacher sees the cell phone, he simply walks over, grabs it. And if the student has a problem, he'll be suspended. I haven't had to do that one yet. They've turned him over. Teacher gives it back to them. Second time caught, it's down to me. Now I'm having a discussion. I've had 7 students down to my office this year so far. Next step to this, third time caught with the phone being used inappropriately, the student's phone will be suspended for a week. They have to check it into my office so I know it's coming in. They're not going to say, oh, I left it at home. No, you'll go home and get it. Haven't had to get to that one yet, but the students all know about it. The final one, simple. You bring it again during that period of time, you are suspended. Now it's insubordination to me, and I'm taking care of it. That has helped our teachers, I believe, from the feedback that I've been getting from our teachers, that they know that if what they say in their classroom is going to be supported when they come down to the office. And that's a key point in working with cell phones. Academic integrity policy. Along with that, we implemented an academic integrity policy this year. Gathered students together. With all the things going on with technology, people, it's a bigger picture. It's not just cell phones. It's a bigger picture. How are you dealing with cheating? I had students, teachers, myself, we put together, student council put together this poster. I had it put together by a professional graphic art person to get the idea of this whole line, this road. LUHS honor code, no cheating plus no plagiarism plus technology etiquette equals no problems. Simple. Posted in every classroom in the school, in trifolds to be handed. So if a student is caught cheating, the teacher can give them the trifold along with their paper that is now an F. Honor code. You failed it. Now we're bringing that to the forefront to talk about it. And you need to incorporate technology with it. Survey results at LUHS. How many students have smartphones? This was 2009, last year. Same survey. 11 questions. This was the key point for this conference. This year, jumped. 18% with smartphones. And some of the anecdotal surveys I've gotten from parents was what I told you earlier. They're buying them the cell phone because it costs less than a laptop or a computer at home. Here they are. Use them. How are students using cell phones at LUHS? Research, calendar, note-taking, GPS, podcasting. We're doing a lot of podcasting right now. Boardcasting, that's one of our teachers is doing. Boardcasting is lesson and then shipping back into the digital form. Interviews, different apps, the amount of apps that are out there that students could be utilizing within the school productively. We're encouraging that. Cell phones for voting. These are a couple websites. If you're interested in these websites, we've used cell phones, and right now we're trying to figure out, without having to buy it, because you get 30, say a classroom of 30, you can utilize that for a cell phone to vote on something or to give text messages to the teacher to keep tally, like Hall was doing in the big hall. We've done that. Now I'm hoping for Mr. T-Bird, we can have the auditorium filled and everybody pulls out their cell phone and they can vote in who's Mr. T-Bird of that evening. Those are the types of things that are happening nationwide. Why not do it here? Why not do it in school? It's out there. We're capable of getting it, making it easier. Phones being used at LUHS in this fashion. Here's a little video clip. I walk around a lot of times. This is rather interesting. I walk around with my little flip camera. And I'll walk in and I'll sit down and I always ask permission though. I always ask permission when I got a student down there. Am I being on camera? Oh no, Mr. Bouche, absolutely. What do you want me to do? You know, they have no problem being on camera. So I'll take pictures and move around, and you'll see in a couple of these classes, they sometimes quiet down too. This is in social studies. They're working on amendments. They want to change amendments, and then they're voting on amendments.
Be ready to jot a few notes or comments.
But you can do this with cell phones. It does not have to be done just with the active expressions.
Tomorrow, like I put up today, this morning, we'll put up the results.
That is not normally a quiet class. Personalities in there like to talk a lot. They didn't even want to look at me.
I'm not going to talk.
Here's in the LMC, students working on computers and doing research on their cell phone. with laptops, mobile laptops for students to check out during the hour that
they're in. Remember when I asked you to figure out how many different ways we can arrange this?
This is a student that has problems writing. So he's found that it's better to type than text. So he texts his notes from math class right there. This is another young man that's doing some research. This time he's going to the website because he needs to go to the website for specific things. So you guys are working on fairy tales and you created a podcast?
We're actually familiar.
This is an English class. Matter of fact, the English teacher with us today was doing this. They are looking at podcasts to get an idea for a podcast they're going to be creating.
Where did you download that
on
podcast?
New fairy tales that they're creating in class. So it's a creative writing class utilizing technology. Good. How our students are taught not to use cell phones at LUHS. This is a big key point. Not used during instructional period, instructional time, not used during meetings, etc., etc. Biggest problem? Parents. Biggest problem is parents. They're texting during class time. The parents are texting notes to their students during class time. And our home page, we have the schedule posted so they know what our schedule is and what time we're at. These are our culprits more than anything else, and they're always, I'm sorry, Mr. Bouche, I'm sorry, I got my son into trouble. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Technology etiquette. Now, this, I wanted to show this because this is the negative side. This is what's happening also. We've had to deal with that. Sexting. Sexting is not necessarily happening in school, but everybody blames schools when that takes place, especially if you're encouraging cell phone use. If we weren't encouraging cell phone use, nobody would be telling us that you got to do something about it. But for every positive, there's a negative. You do have to deal with some of these negatives.
They call it sexting. Teenagers using cell phones to send nude or semi-nude pictures to a girlfriend or boyfriend.
The consequences of their actions because they do not have the benefit of life
had left her alone while he went inside. She freed her hands, dialed 911 on her cell phone.
I'm not going to watch the whole thing. It's about a two and a half minute video clip. That also is on the website, so if you want to get that, you can get it from the website or you can get it from YouTube. Again, a lot of things do come out of YouTube. That's pretty good that you can utilize. It's not all bad. So that is something that you can pick up and take a look at. We're looking at blended learning, and that's a key point. As you're looking at blended learning, you need to incorporate all the technologies, the tools that we have in order to do it well. And if you're going to utilize blended learning, you got to understand the cell phone's a part of that. Guided work. Here we go. Continuing. 21st century, we're at the tip of the iceberg. This is one slide I like to end with different presentations because change again. We talked about change at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Key operative term throughout this whole conference session has been change. You have to be willing to change. Learners are changing, classrooms are changing, instruction is changing, curriculum is changing, computers are changing. 21st century learning means change. We need to be aware of that and continue to go forward. This is the website that you can go and pick up this presentation along with the video clips that are embedded. If you want the specific video clips, you need to go to YouTube and you just identify the title and you can get the URL for that. This is www.slideshare.net/jbouche. Also, there is a handout on there, the handout pertaining to what we expect for our teachers to know when it comes to the world of technology and the advanced learners as teachers as well. Questions?
Do you block, excuse me, do you block Facebook and YouTube for your students?
We block Facebook and any social network. We block it. We have an open wireless that anybody can get into. We block it on that, and we block it in the controlled. We block it off of all of our hardware. Our feeling is this. We're going to protect them. There are many ways to socialize. And even within Gaggle, emailing back and forth, they can do it that way. But we're not going to encourage that. That's not educationally sound. YouTube, we will give options to get into that because of some of the very good video clips in that. We will be able to do that class by class by shutting off the servers.
The argument that I always hear that people think in my school is we have a filter for our internet, but when you use a smartphone, you don't need a filter. So the accessing of inappropriate stuff, what has been your experience in your school in doing that? Or my argument is that if we actually let them use it, they're probably not going to be inappropriate.
We haven't had a lot of it, but the idea for us is this. We're going to control everything we can control. We can't control I'm talking about the AT&T, Verizon, we can't control them. We also talk with parents about the fact that that's a parental decision. If you're complaining about texting, cut them off. I don't pay your bill. I mean, straight up, straightforward. We've got to talk about, we're going to teach and educate. Parents have to be a part of the process, and we encourage the parents to be a part of that process, and we talk to them about these fears that they have to do some parenting.
How did you fund the volume of technology that you put in?
Through grants, through replacement materials. You got to replace things in the schools anyway. Replace some of the old technology. Instead of replacing it with old technology, we're replacing it with the upgraded technology. Also working out deals with companies and buying in volume. Give you a big break. We're right now working with Apple. We're going to be doing some things in the first of the year, talking to them about some specific things. So it's a matter of working the companies. My time in Minnesota, I was at a school that was a dual platform school, did a lot with Mac. Mac did a lot for us. So I like Macs, and Mac likes to be in education. Other questions? Good question. Like I said, we have a lot of mobile labs. We bring those into classrooms. Anytime they go to the LMC, they can check out a laptop. We have an academic enhancement study hall where if a student's not doing well, they must go to that one, and we give them computers in there as well. We have a tutoring system after school for 2 hours where we give them the opportunity to get on laptops at that time. Trying to give them any time that they may have off an opportunity to get to a laptop in our building. Other questions? Thank you very much. I was going to get to some other things, but we don't have time. You got other sessions. I hope you've picked up some things.